Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 236 of the Fans of Power podcast. All three of us took big, hearty dumps before we started the show, so we're here with Joe Amato, who represents Team Krispy Kreme shits. You got me, who represents the Mexican food dumps, and then Tyler Baker, who said that he had a nice big protein excursion before we did the show. So, hey, now you guys know about our bowel movements for the afternoon. Hope you guys are all doing all right.
I mean, where are you going to get this on any other He-Man podcast, people? You know, I mean, it's we like to dig a little extra deep, you know, in terms of our content, and hope, you know, you're just not going to get this on Roast Google. So, Val, try and top that there, buddy.
Yeah, you need to talk about your poops more, Val. Poops equal views from what I've seen on the YouTubes. So that's what we're trying this week.
Mine hasn't happened. I just feel like I told you guys, I feel kind of sick because I, not suckered my sister into buying Krispy Kreme donuts, but, I was like, hey, they got these new Reese Piece ones. They got 3 different kinds. They look delicious. And she was nice enough to buy them, and she brought over a dozen, and I ate 6 about 2 hours ago, and oh my God, it's like my stomach's just... Sure enough, I was like, am I going to puke? Am I going to puke on the show? I hope not.
Half a dozen donuts. How, Joe? Like, I mean, like, I can sit and probably eat about maybe 3, and then it's just too rich for me, and I can't, but you...
It's just because I have a weird high metabolism. I like just crazy stuff, and it looks so good, and they're all different. They were like filled with peanut butter. There was chocolate on top. There's Reese's Pieces. It's just, Tyler would probably get sick just looking at him because I know he avoids that crap. But my God, I shouldn't have went so.
Hey, if when donuts happen to show up, which is not too often, and I'm like, you know what, I'll do it. I'll indulge, but I'm like, I won't go past no more than like maybe 3 if I do that at all. I just, as much as I could eat a whole lot, I'm just like, it's enough to, hey, have a donut with some chocolate icing or something like that on there, but it's not often enough, right? I put myself in, a Jeff Daniels in the bathroom situation by having too many donuts, I just...
it was a sugar rush, and now it's kind of slowed down, but while I'm being calm, I'll quickly at least say hello to the chat room, at least while I can function.
Halfway through, Joe's just going to, like, pass out from his crash.
That'd be terrible, just live. But JSP, Captain Chronic, Rabua Channel, I probably butchered your name, man. I'm sorry about that. Lee Heckle, Zen Brown, Darth Baca, Curtis Ackerman, Grimbot, Papa Hood 69. I did say Fedmon already. Adam Gabbert. Carlos is here. I always avoid his last name because I butchered. Spider Rat. And Eric Amon. And there, I think I got everybody. But thank you all for joining us. And, well, I guess for any topical stuff, I did notice the storm of... wow, people are getting them like crazy. I didn't know they were supposed to be coming out this quick. I know you could order them online, and apparently maybe they'd show up, but those Origins have been hitting like all the Walmarts, and people just been, they've been buying them up like crazy. Now, I admit, when it comes to the Sky Sled, I'm psyched on it because what's cool is I like the interchangeable stuff. I mean, for $29, you're getting a figure and the Sky Sled, and the Sky Sled can either be the good version or the bad version, so it can make for wanting to buy 2. Battle Cat, cool. Skeletor, as I showed you last time, it's just so unfortunate that the main villain has such a weird head, and then the hero is for He-Man. I just don't understand the choice on the face. And then I've never seen the females up close in real good shots until people started posting them. One being Grimbot and a few others. They're doing this weird pose like a supermodel, like they're sucking in their cheekbones and squinting. It's like, I'm just so damn disappointed that the main characters that you're going to at least highlight for, the launch of this line, had got some of those butchered faces. Man-at-Arms is the only one I could say, okay. And Beastman, okay. I'm hyped for the line, don't get me wrong. I'm going to buy them all, but I hate that that's the launch with these weird faces. I don't know if you guys have seen them, but damn, it lets me down that that's what they're showcasing. I don't know who just, okayed and greenlit that and said, you know what, that's a perfect face for Skeletor, He-Man, Evelyn. I don't know what happened. And I don't know if you guys seen them, but damn, what a disappointment.
I haven't seen any of the pictures of the people that have posted them that have found them in store and brought them home. It's nice that they've hit the shelves. I'm sure some of you are like, well, then why did I spend $80 on this on eBay? But I have yet, because I haven't been going to Walmart either. I try to avoid that as much as I can because that is sort of where the epicenter of this virus lives around here. To me.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, no kidding.
Well,
Wow, okay.
I mean,
didn't know.
Joe's like, "What? You're being serious?" No, it's the people walking around. It's
Oh.
just a bunch of a bunch of trash, honestly. Anyway, in terms of the faces, they are what they are, I guess. We've said it before. The He-Man face is nah. The Skeletor face, like, why'd you do that? Trapjaw's face looks weird. It doesn't make sense. Like, it's different enough from its vintage counterpart, but it's almost just too different to where it just... The face molds look sort of cheap to me.
I don't know. You know what's weird is, the thing is, again, I respect that they were trying a different look. It's like I said, okay, every He-Man line that's come out from 2000X, all the other, lines that we've had, yes, they've had a different kind of interpretation, but it's just like they missed the mark, especially if, again, they always like to focus and say, you know what, we got to have a lot of the main hero, the main villain when it comes to He-Man and Skeletor, especially when you know if they're going to do variants. I'm thinking, I'm thinking, are you guys going to continue that head for each one then? It's just that they really missed, like I said, for me, it just missed the mark. I don't understand what happened. And some people even here said they didn't even like Man-at-Arms. Like, again, I'm excited for the figures. I just want to be great. Okay, like, for example, I'm going to show you what could be one of the most hated figures just in a design-wise. Okay, now here's Faker Cena, okay? But you know what's
why
weird?
are you doing this, Joe? Why am I being forced to look at damn John Cena on a He-Man podcast?
I don't know if it can show it that well,
Joe,
but I just want to bring up a point.
Joe, there's nothing there.
You can't see him.
I got you.
And that's why he's clear. But here's the thing. But this is the thing about this figure. Why does this figure have at least that very cool, clear gimmick? Meaning, if you guys are going to do this, give us something to where this is a great molded plastic figure. It's that transparent. Why can't we get an nicer? This is my example is, okay, you're going to keep giving us the same stuff over and over. Don't miss it this time. If you're going to put quality into a goofy figure like John Cena, then give us an Icer. We never had a vintage one. Yes, we got them for classics, but we've always wanted vintage. They show right here. It's great. It is clear. It probably doesn't show up as great as when I look.
Well, that makes no sense. Why is Faker clear? It's strictly like if
you know what it
John
is.
Cena, well, I know it's for the whole like some jerk off at Mattel's like, oh, you can't see me. Isn't it funny? But that's not the character. But that's not the character, though. The character is not see-through. It's not.
I didn't get it either. You're right, because there is a John Cena, but this is the Faker. But you're right. It's like, well, Faker's not clear. But yeah, they wanted to go with the "you can't see me." But obviously, we know we're
it's like you got a bunch of goofy-ass 4-H camp counselors making decisions from Mattel.
But it's the potential.
Just like where their humor is just.
I didn't like that humor either.
God, everything is about like Destro with his pimp daddy bullshit armor. Like everything now has got to be funny. Jesus, it's just you can't you can't watch or read or look at anything without some jerk off thinks he's got to get his bullshit modern day quirky humor into everything from toys to comics to movies to TV shows. It's unavoidable.
It makes money.
No, but it does. But it angers, like I said, me and Tyler, because I seen this, and it's just, to me, I was like, take off that head, get rid of all this crap, and put all the stuff that would make an Icer. And I was like, look what you could do, Mattel. You could give us something cool, but you give this. It's sad to me. Like I said, that this character, that, like you said, what's the logic? Oh, you can't see me. But I was like, he gets it, but we can't get an Icer? That's what I mean. It's like, start giving us some more. After this first or second wave, please, start giving us characters we never had from the mini comics and the cartoon. And the other thing that just dumbfounds me is they do a poll to see, do you want to have Anti-Eternia, like Man-at-Arms?
Didn't I tell you guys 2 weeks ago? I said, I guarantee it. I said, watch it be variants. I said, son of a bitch, 24 hours later, it's a poll for 4 variants. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired of being right.
Not only about the variants, but what's bizarre and angry about, like seeing that is, okay, Anti-Eternia Man-at-Arms and Keldor from that garbage multiverse comic we read. Again, we've said this how many times, Tyler? Why are you guys trying to give us from new stuff when you have a library of characters from the past that we never had? Why do you think you have to invent to give us new things when there's a ton, there's hundreds of characters that we could have that we never had, but instead you'd like to say, oh, do you want to have Keldor from the Multiverse comic? Do you want to have Man-at-Arms as anti-Man-at-Arms? No, I don't want any of them. I want some stuff from the past that we never had. They act like we don't have a library of characters. I don't get it.
Well,
It's
like in that poll, they should have been like, all right, well, here's 3 variants. Here's Icer. Like Joe wanted, because they already got they could do that, like you said. Why not throw the fans a bone instead? It's just more variants. It's stupid.
And I guarantee you, it would be their argument is, well, we don't want to put out characters like Icer and Lizardman and Strongarm in this line that's we're putting He-Man back. They need to see the quintessential characters. Like, okay, so you're saying the casual fan knows what the hell an anti-Eternia Man-at-Arms is?
They sure won't.
That they know why Triclops looks this way? Like, bullshit!
Yeah, they're not going to know Keldor, definitely.
That's why I'm like, any casual fan, I find it hard to believe most hardcore fans, what few are left of us, are excited about this toy line. And whether it's just strictly about you're just eager to buy whatever kind of trinket bullshit is out in retail outlets right now. But you can't be that excited when you're already seeing variants at the forefront of, like, the very first poll of getting the fans involved is, what kind of variant do you want? I mean, it's a plague for disaster. I mean, I don't see how anybody can get enthusiastic when you feel like they're already trying to get your input on the bullshit variants. Like, already, like, this line has barely even hit the shelves, which I find it hard to believe it coming anywhere near me and Nathan.
Well, I'm sure it'll show up at Walmart, or at least we'll see the spot for it and just never see the figure because someone else has already beat us to it. And that's fine, because I'm not going to be one of those people going to Walmart every single day looking for these things. If I'm in there, walk down the toy aisle, they're there, I'll probably get them. Maybe. I don't know anymore. I don't know. I don't know.
I hate even bothering walking down the toy, and I'm sure that we're not the only Walmarts that like that, but it's like toys they're kind of almost obsolete in terms of, like, the stocking, which I'm sure there's some jerk off that hangs at every Walmart in America waiting around and just constantly makes runs in every hour hoping the toys have been stocked, and then steals or has an inside man who works for him, Walmart, and hooks him up with the entire damn box or whatever. Yeah. But it just feels like, toys are so poorly stocked at retail outlets for the most part. Like, yeah, you see someone say, check out what I scored. I swear, I'm so sick and tired of people, like, posting all about all the shit that they bought. Like that. That's why I have no desire to participate in social media groups about He-Man, because it's just packed out the ass with just people, like, showing, look what I bought today. Like, oh, look, I'm watching this. Let me screen cap what I'm watching right now. Like, there are no conversations. It's just people like, oh man, check this out, man. Anyone ever seen this before? I just picked this up. Is this, like, really rare and, like, a really cool variant? Like, what version of He-Man is this? And I just want to pull a Keanu Reeves right there when I see this. And it's getting where I don't want to see He-Man even show up at all on social media, because people don't have anything original to share or offer or suggest or want people to talk about. It's bragging rights because you bought shit. And, like, I know I've said this before, but it's what few groups I still see pop up on my social media. That's all I'm seeing is people buying shit. Joe, I know you like to share stuff and things like that, but do you see anything else, or either one of you guys see anything other than people sharing the shit that they bought, as opposed to, hey guys, do you feel like, Faker is an underrated character, or, I really like this one-shot villain from She-Ra. Does anybody else like this character?
Well, I do.
What's your favorite?
What I get is, sure, the groups are dominated by the toys, but no, there will be a lot of people that do post, like some of the books saying, here's my thoughts on, like, let's say Meteor Monsters or whatever it may be. They do like showing some of the books, some of their favorite characters. Maybe won't go in depth about stuff, but there still is discussion. But I can understand the excitement for figures because, you know, they're wanting something. But like I said, it's just lately the stuff I've been seeing hasn't been delivering on
I
that.
didn't see as much stuff in the classics line was when we were getting it regularly in the mail. Like, I have no recollection. Not that I was checking every day, but I didn't see an overabundance of people like, mail call, look at the shit that I got, look at my haul, man.
No, okay,
You know?
well, again, I can agree with you on that for classics, because at that time, classics is basically all we were getting. Now, though, I mean, you got from Origins, the WWE stuff, the crazy Funko stuff like
you can't count all this like trinket bullshit, man.
Well, no. That's the thing. When they show it, they are showing a lot. They're showing the Origins. They're showing the WWE. They even showed, I didn't even know about these things. There's figures that are called the world's smallest figures. It's He-Man, and he's literally an inch, and a battle pen is an inch. I was like, I didn't know about that, but and since the stuff's the merchandise and it's out in the stores and there's more, since it's, you know, mass produced, there's a lot more people doing it. Whereas when it was just the classics line, you had to be somebody that was a subscriber at one point, and there weren't that many. But now the masses are out and they're sharing, and God, I mean, the amount of stuff they're getting. The thing I don't get is I check like the websites around. I check the website for my local Walmarts around here, and it always says in store. They have them in stock. Then I called them, and they said, we don't have it. I was like, your store says it has it right here on the website. They're like, well, I don't see that. And I figured, okay, I'm going to go check. I go, nothing's there. And I was like, could you check the back? And they go check the back if they're really checking. Like, nope, don't have them. It's like, I don't understand how people are finding them then, and what's wrong with my stores? Why does it say they're there? But then when I call, they say, nope, we don't have them. I don't get, are they holding it for their friends? That's what pisses me off. I can't even get them.
Joe, I worked at Walmart for about a year and a half. Shit, how long ago was this? Almost 15 years ago.
Oh God, we're talking the mid 2000s.
And let me tell you, the vast majority of the people that work at Walmart have no idea what any of that shit is, and they don't care. So
and don't care.
They don't. They're looking to give you the quick answer. I've been guilty of it too. When someone asks me for something that I know we don't have in the back. And after you tell them, they're like, well, can you just go check? I'm like, well, I know it's not back there. So I'll just go back there and pretend that I'm looking. So it does happen in that regard. But yeah, most of them don't.
Well, I often feel like with toys, no employee at any retail outlet, because typically they don't know toys nor are they interested. There's maybe one or two people, I'm sure, at every outlet that is probably into collecting toys. But it doesn't mean they're into collecting, the 80s. Retro stuff. It's probably like your pick and chew bullshit and little chibi, Minecraft nonsense and all that pixelated bullshit. Nothing macho with balls.
I mean, if kids like that stuff, whatever. I know Minecraft.
I'm talking about adults. Kids is one thing, and I'm talking about adults. That which pretty much is what toy aisles are focused on anyway. But yeah, I just kind of feel like if you were to ask them, hey, do you have any of the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff or any of the G.I. Joe classified? What's a G.I. Joe? I don't know, man. We got a lot of Godzilla stuff on the shelf. You like Godzilla?
Yeah, well,
I just feel like
if you don't get that, it's like, well, someone was here about an hour and a half ago. I already bought them all. So. Yeah. Back to your point about the whole like Facebook thing and the groups and whatever. I think that's just the trend as a whole, not even just the groups. Facebook itself, and you think about like Instagram, their core focus and the thing that people really pay attention to are pictures. That's why Joe will post a picture of He-Man with a burrito or something, and then the people are like, I love it. I love it. If you post a link to anything, like our show, for example, no one will click on it.
And I know people in our rants about people not watching this damn podcast. I remember a couple people even suggested.
I cracked Joe up. That's pretty good. That doesn't happen like that too often.
No, it does not.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
But no, I just felt like people clearly do respond to pictures, but hell. When I would put up collages of very distinct pictures that you wouldn't find in a Google search, like my own screen caps and stuff to advertise the podcast, no one gave a shit.
Well, no, I'm saying...
I mean, it was like
you really have to, like, break it down. It has to just be a picture, just one picture, nothing else. Because
I would even do that too, because me and Joe would talk privately about, just a distinct picture sometimes will draw people's interest. And I mean, hell, a prime example, and this is so weird, when Anthony DeLongis came on, guy who played Blade, for you casual fans who don't know jack shit. When we announced that he was coming on the podcast, I put a basic picture of Blade in every He-Man social media group I could find, and I got a ton of likes. And I guarantee they just liked the picture. Yeah. And when it was over and we advertised the actual podcast, no one gave a shit.
That's what it is. That's what Facebook is, man. It's just random pictures. You scroll, you react to it, you move on. The big.
And I can give you an example if you want. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
I'll
give you an example because it actually is what Grimbot brought up. I joke with people. People know this when I make my photos, and I always put my initials or my name somewhere on the picture. Most people know
this.
Is
that real?
Not everybody, though. Yeah, and that's the thing. I was in a Filmation
Are you still
group.
doing that?
Yeah. And, for example, in a Filmation group, to where there's been a lot of people joining lately. I mean, it's crazy. But I put up some fake episode titles of a Filmation episode.
Oh, my God.
I didn't know that was real. That happened? Oh, I got to go watch that on YouTube. And I'm like, whew. And it was like one of the things I put on, I couldn't tell you the amount of people, like almost the first 20 people all believed it. I was like, is there anybody out there like me that knows this isn't real? Or is it almost like you said, just sometimes the people, hey, I remember He-Man. Hey, it's this Filmation He-Man. I'm going to join the group.
That's what it is. And to a degree that's fine. But I'm just saying, like, if it's not a picture of somebody's kid or like their pet or something, like people don't care. Gotta keep scrolling. What else? Wait, you mean there's an advertisement for, I don't know, let me just scroll through mine really fast.
But to piggyback off that, why is it He-Man has to suffer from this? Like, why is it Transformers and Star Wars and G.I. Joe can share and make references and make posts to hardcore details and things? Like, the Star Wars fan base is, yes, every fan base has got casual fans, but Star Wars is known for being hardcore. Transformers is known for being hardcore. G.I. Joe is known for being hardcore. Why is it that He-Man, who rounds out the trifecta of the 80s juggernauts, has just disintegrated to the most smallest, minute group of hardcore fans, and it's strictly about people who will believe, like, and I'm like, why is Joe posting fake Filmation title cards, knowing full well, people are, and you do, I guarantee, Joe, you do this knowing you're going to get a rise out of people thinking they're going to buy into it, and then Joe gets a headache. It's like, why do people believe this? Why do people just,
well, first,
like Joe
I
is
do
deliberately
it to be just, I like antagonizing. You are correct about that. And one of them was, and Aaron Voorhees is in here. He's the creator of the Filmation He-Man and She-Ra group, by the way, and he wanted to say hi. But I posted up, I forgot what picture it was, and it led to this crazy debate where somebody said something about, did Tila ever find out Adam and He-Man were the same person in the Filmation cartoon? And I responded, no. But somebody had to keep challenging me with no proof. Yes, it did happen. And one person said, yes, it did, but she almost found out. And I was like, wait a second. He asked, did she find out? I said, no. And you just said, yes, she did, but she almost did. It's like, that's not the same thing. But then James, God bless him, James Etok, he posted a fake title thing, and he said it was the episode where Tila found out Adam's secret. And somebody said, I gotta go find that episode on YouTube. I was like, oh my God, I lost it. I was like, James was being even more sarcastic than me, and somebody believed. I was like, oh dear God. I'm having fun. We have fun with it, but I was like, come on now, you guys got to know when something's fake here. You would hope you're catching on to this.
It's scary to know how few people know that it's a joke.
Well, think about it. You asked earlier about like the hardcore fan bases and why this one's dwindled down, and it's pretty easy to answer that. Those fan bases have continuously been fed since the original series premiered, with other movies and more like Star Wars especially. You get the prequels, then you get the 7, 8, and 9, and then you got Clone Wars cartoon, you got all those books, all that literature that came out for it, all kinds of shit. Like, this property just had all of that condensed in this short amount of time, and then basically nothing until 2002, and even then,
well,
people
not
didn't even
necessarily.
know
I don't.
about that
Well,
existence.
I'm talking about like even though the fact that a lot of these properties have been given a lot of media and more toy lines, I kind of take that as kind of irrelevant because I'm talking about the people that cherish the details. That if you're a Star Wars fan, if I'd say, hey, remember that part where Nia Noob was like talking to Lando, like they know who Nia Noob is. If I walk up to a He-Man fan and I say, oh man, it's like, how about, that one issue, the one mini comic that we got Mosquito in? Who? It's
That makes sense, but
that's what I'm talking about. It's not about how much stuff is out there. It's like knowing that you can talk to these people or that they are aware of how in depth. I mean, like a Star Wars fan, if you talk Shards of the Empire with them, most of them are going to know what you're talking about.
But I think that's what breeds that hardcore fan base, is that there's constantly been just more to consume, and they can get deeper and deeper into it and introduce more people.
Well, hell, even G.I. Joe has not been given. Is given 2 shitty live action movies, which I think the vast majority, and I dare anybody to argue that, do not consider them, anything, more than just, shit shows by Paramount, and that is it. I never hear anybody say anything positive about this film, so it's not like G.I. Joe's been given a whole lot.
They were great. Huh? I love those movies.
Oh yeah, of course.
I like the second one because The Rock's in it.
When did G.I. Joe, by the way, I got to ask you guys both a question, because I know that like people in the chat room said, like Transformers has basically stayed relevant since it, was, started. Mm-hmm. It's always been around in some form. Now, G.I. Joe, I know that there was a time I was going into the toy stores, like maybe, let's say 15 years ago. It seemed like there was always spells where you always seen G.I. Joe figures, always Transformers, always Star Wars. But then, as of late, I don't remember the last time I seen G.I. Joe. Did they go inactive a couple years ago, or is there stuff out there and I just don't know? I know there's recent stuff.
No, the last thing that was done is that they did that exclusive line for Toys R Us, which I just realized because I barely got to see any of those things because they were gone the minute they hit the shelves.
And what year was that?
This was a few years ago. This was like probably 2012, 2013, somewhere within the last decade. And I didn't realize that the retro line that Hasbro's announcing is just the exact same figures from the Toys R Us line, which I felt like, oh my God, I'm not going to support that. Like I initially thought it was new sculpts and people were complaining about the card backs. Like, no, it's the exact same figures they released in Toys R Us. They're just releasing them as singles.
But I think it works in that regard that if you missed out on them the first time and Toys R Us doesn't exist, at least in the same capacity that it used to, that you could jump into it. And I think we're kind of missing the major point. The biggest difference here between that and Masters is Hasbro has all those properties, and Mattel doesn't know what the hell they're doing. So,
well, and I think some people would argue that Hasbro at times doesn't know what they're doing, because I feel like a lot of people are upset with a lot of the Transformer stuff, which they can't seem to figure out. The G1 stuff is the only thing that continues to be the attention getter. G.I. Joe is something that you're not quite sure what their take is on G.I. Joe because they're so inconsistent on it.
Yeah.
And Star Wars, I know they've pissed off certain Star Wars fans because I feel like they just keep regurgitating the same damn characters on a retro card back over and over and over and over and over again. But a lot of Star Wars fans they'll bitch and complain, but they'll buy damn near everything you throw out, and it doesn't matter how much they complain about it.
It's like some people in this fan base. They'll just buy it, buy.
That's why I'm like, I've reached that point. Like, no, I'm not giving you any money. I don't care how many times you slap that beloved chrome lettering on any item. Like, I'm not buying it unless I feel it's deemed necessary for me to spend my hard-earned money on it and bring it home with me. Like, I'm not doing that because I feel like there's not a creative mind behind any of this stuff. And that not just Origins, but everything else that has the Masters logo on it. It just comes off as just a bunch of cheap junk, trinkets, nonsense. Nothing that has a badass feel to it. It all just comes off as the cutesy nonsense, which obviously I'm sure Nathan will tell me is the stuff that's trending because people love to draw little chibi stuff. They like to sell little chibi stuff. Everything has to look like little cherubs and I don't know what the fuck they're called, but it's just, I'm just tired of seeing everything is drawn as like little cutesy stuff.
Well, I
hate it.
It sells. Comedy and these properties sells. You can blame the Marvel movies for that.
Oh, believe me, I denounce. That's why I don't read any Marvel stuff unless it's from the early '90s and all the way back to the '60s. Like I don't give two shits about anything modern anymore, just because everything revolves around dismissing continuity and telling a bunch of multiverse bullshit. It's I wish I had something to be excited about, people. That's what sucks about all this stuff.
Well,
I don't complain to be mean and ugly, as I want good quality stuff, and I feel like, and I know I'm in the vast minority. I think I am heavily outnumbered and outgunned, figuratively speaking, not literally, by the masses who love this stuff. Yeah, come on, Nate. Don't even try. Don't even try to get in the ring. Don't even try.
Well, you know what?
I feel like I just ate half a dozen donuts because I feel like I'm gonna puke.
It's still settling. I actually hear my stomach gurgling. I hope that doesn't get picked up on the mic.
I can't hear anything, but it'll be hilarious if other people can.
It might. That would
Joe
be gross.
Joe said his tummy was rumbling, and I thought he was just gonna shit his pants.
I'd be scared.
We might get people to turn and watch the podcast if we rename it Joe Takes a Shit live on the podcast.
Joe, go ahead and do that, and we can just promote it that way. You want to hear Joe?
People say, we talk toys and Joe takes a big shit, If you don't want to hear about the hardcore stuff, you come to the right place here tonight, people.
The sights and sounds of Joe crapping his pants, only on Fans of Power, number 236.
Well, I hope I don't vomit. But, well, here's the thing. You were talking about how you said you could say to the average or casual Masters Universe fan, Mosquito, and they would say, who's that? Well, I'm going to bring up the example why. There are 4 comics that most Masters of the Universe fans consider just the holy grail of Masters of the Universe. That past
what a segue there, Joe.
Isn't it? It worked. But past these 4, nothing else existed. You have Battle in the Clouds, you have The Vengeance of Skeletor, He-Man and the Power Sword, and King of Castle Grayskull. These 4 comics, they say, are the most savage, intense, the best written, best looking. I'll give it to you. They look great. They are fantastic. But we're going to get into Battle in the Clouds, and we're going to see, is this really as good as people say? Because, my God, if you want to talk about one of the most convoluted and confusing stories, it's this. I mean, you can see it, and Nathan has it right here up on the screen. The way they'll transition from one thing to another. Now, I know that in these considered storybooks, yes, they won't say it all. But there's some pages, like, for example, they talk about this battle in front of Castle Grayskull of He-Man Skeletor. You see Stratos that heard it. Merman's hiding behind this rock at Castle Grayskull. But in the next page, he's behind a rock, and it's by water. It's like, what in the hell happened? I brought this up to James Etok, and James even said, Joe, I've never really looked at it. He's like, you're right, though. He's like, where was the transition? He almost thought, we were both kind of like spitballing back and forth, that maybe the artist originally, because as you see, the battle basically takes place around this water, that originally it was just Merman standing behind that rock by the water, but then maybe Mattel was like, we got to get a reference to Castle Grayskull or rock, you got to draw something. And he believes that's maybe why they have 2 of the same exact position poses, but one's by water, one's supposedly by Grayskull. But so many moments, I mean, when Stratos is like, oh, let me help you get higher in the sky sled, or battle ram, as they like to call it, and he takes him way up, and then the gust of wind blows him off. It's like, then Stratos doesn't know that He-Man is gone. I guess the reason we want to bring this up is you're going to see a lot of back and forth weirdness. We're not going to exactly talk every bit of the story, but we're going to talk about the stupid parts of it. But this is also the comic where they said, Merman kicked the crap out of He-Man. This is the one. You guys can all see it because Merman is standing on top of He-Man holding his power harness. But as you read it and you see, it's because Stratos took He-Man so high, a gust of wind flew him down, could have killed him, but his harness is what saved him. He-Man was unconscious. So then Merman took advantage of that. By the way, he gets Charger somehow from Tila, which they don't explain none of this.
Yeah, like where the hell is it? Just and even the story just abruptly just jumps right into it. Like it's almost like you could almost forgive because they only have like one picture per page that the words would kind of link it together. But
even
it doesn't happen.
That's not the case. Like if you
No.
want to rely on the words to actually connect it, it's not really happening here.
No.
And I thought it was interesting, like because I know we had the Savage stuff, so obviously in the ones even before this, is the harness sort of just introduced in this as a way for them to kind of go back and be like, all right, well, this is what's on the figure, and we have to explain it. It's not just a decorative thing. It has like more to it than that. That seemed kind of strange to me, like a super strength
Well, as
suit,
you can see, they
a
kind of
force
force
field.
fed it.
Like what?
Yeah, there's the power one, the force, and if you see it when they mention it earlier, it's like they're trying to do foreshadowing by using those specific words, and then and now here it is. But did you notice that's the other thing? So He-Man goes back to his house to get the force field harness, and then where the hell they go? Like right here. Where's it at? What happened? You had it, and now it's gone. It's like everything, I feel like, was drawn out of order. They didn't know what was going on. They even said, remember, this was a rushed mini-comic, but for the people who say this is their grails, this and those other 3 stories is all that matters with Masters, it's like, my God, you are limiting yourself. I mean, there's the Filmation cartoon, the Star comics, the DC comics, the Golden Books, so much rich stories. Like, you're going to go by 4 convoluted, confusing stories, and again, did you see the intense savagery in this, Tyler? Where is this savagery and blood and Conan feel? Where is it at? I'd like to know.
Yeah, I've often, like, I know there are people who, they mention Alfredo because they like his artwork. Like, that's one thing. You know, and you got to be specific about that. When you say these are your 4 because you love the artwork. Can't really argue that because the artwork is beautiful, and I like the simplicity and a lot of the panels that he drew and everything. But story-wise, I mean, they're not legendary. They're not memorable. There are brief moments in some of them that I like, especially He-Man the Power Sword. There are moments that I enjoy. I hate He-Man's origin. He's from a tribe. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad. There's things that I'm glad they graduated from these 4 mini comics. Like there are elements. Like I love seeing, the primitive take on Castle Grayskull where there's nobody in Grayskull. They, whoever's in control sneaks in, uses all the electronic equipment and things like that. Use the laser cannon. A lot of the things that help sell the toy. Like I enjoy seeing a lot of that stuff, but overall, like I'm sure these fans too, like. When I don't know. I
think it's the art because, like somebody here in the chat room, which yes, Jay, I agree with you, Jay. The artwork is fantastic. He said it made it epic, but in the minds of a lot of these fans, when you'll have debates without them even talking about these comics, in their head, all they'll keep saying the stories were so savage, and I always want to say, when did this happen? And then there's the people that will say, Merman kicked the crap out of He-Man. It's like, when did this happen? They show me that picture, and then I tell them to read this. They're like, oh, that's what I mean. But when you're going through this whole thing, it's nothing but confusion. Okay, well, here's the thing. Look at this. First, when He-Man fell out of the battle ram. I keep wanting to say Sky Sled. It is, but whatever. When he falls out of the battle ram and his power harness saves him, that was a pretty good distance, okay? And then Merman's like, I better get this. If I can have He-Man's weapons, I can help Skeletor, blah, blah, blah. Later, towards the end of this, you see Man-at-Arms a lot higher than He-Man was up in the sky. He gets knocked down, falls onto the ground, and they said the only thing that saved him was his special armor. I was like, I think I'd want Man-at-Arms' armor more. I mean, he fell at a higher rate. It's like, is everybody got this special magical armor? Everything seems so forced at times, but this is the thing with Charger, seeing that with Teela, like you said, first it came out of nowhere. You never seen Charger again. They don't really explain much of anything, but I almost felt like there was a lot of, not only the coloring books, but books. They showed Charger so much. I almost felt like they were going to plan on putting Charger in the line and decided not to. I don't know if it's something you ever thought about, but isn't it weird that Charger is in so many things and the covers of a lot of stuff, even the coloring books, but Charger never appeared? I wondered, did they think about maybe making that horse, but thought, maybe nobody would get into him? But
I mean, hell, I seriously doubt it. I think it was just something that, I think Don Gluck, who wrote these first 4 mini comics, I'm sure it was just something that was thrown in and they kind of went with it. But I can't see them, mainly because they didn't put a whole lot of stock into female figures in this line. So why come up with a steed for the females when they, plus the females wouldn't be able to, like, logically able to use any of the steeds anyway, because, Evelyn and Tila, the same buck and legs, we're not going to be able to fit on any kind of vehicle in the entire line for that matter anyway. So I just feel like it would have been a cool idea, but I can't see Mattel, like, coming up with this particular horse that would fit a very peculiar figure that just is not meant to go on any of the vehicles at all. Like Tila, if you put her on Battle Cat, she's not going to sit on there. I think just from a logic standpoint, I don't see Mattel doing that. I feel like Charger would have been a great addition, and I think honestly should be kept in the canon of He-Man.
Sure.
Why shouldn't Tila have a reliable steed that you can rely on at all times? I feel like a lot of the prominent characters should have something. Like Skeletor's got Panther, He-Man's got Battle Cat, Fisto has a Stridor, Jitsu's got Night Stalker. I feel like some people should have a particular reliable beast / steed or a vehicle that is theirs. It's their.
You wonder if in their head they were thinking. No, you're wondering, no, I agree. And I was wondering if, like, in their heads, they were thinking, okay, when you think of, like, Battle Cat, Panther, and all the other vehicles that everybody can get in those, it's cool. But we only have, at the time, we just have 2 females. And, of course, here comes the sorceress eventually. But 2 females, like, should we release the horse? Would the guys think it's a girl horse and wouldn't put the guys on it? You wonder what goes through their head. I would have loved to seen a Charger because I bet it would have looked fantastic. I mean, that's still something that could be even great for I ain't even going to saying, hey, it should be in the new line because we know it ain't going to happen.
I don't think, I honestly, I don't see the Origins line lasting that long. We said it before. I feel like it's just a test for something else to see... tread the waters, be like, all right, they're selling pretty well.
Possibility for the cartoon, the new cartoon. And I agree with you.
I feel like
Nathan.
that's what's
even if the new cartoon sucks, doesn't guarantee good toy sales. I mean, I think we all saw that with the 2000X line. The way it was poorly advertised and swapping times and all that stuff, like, didn't help toy sales at all. And the fact that they screwed the pooch on the shitload of variants, we all know that story. I'm kind of with Nathan. Like, it's kind of hard to picture Mattel willing to go 7, 8 waves into re-releasing every figure from the original lineup and then throw in their bullshit variants of apparent versions of characters we never got because they're too cheap to give us a Lizardman or an Icer.
Unless it was just boom, but like they have all this in the tank ready and it's just like boom, boom, boom. These waves are coming out like every 6 months or something. I just don't
honestly,
see it
that's the thing. I see that. No, I mean, and I'm sorry, Nathan. Again, I didn't. I hate doing that. I feel bad. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
No, you're fine. I want to stress this too because I don't think I've ever addressed it on the show with how we have Skype in here and doing this. Like the way that we hear it with the 3 of us through this is fine, but I notice sometimes when I go back and watch the episode and how it's recorded the audio that it sounds like I have second ahead of you guys, so it's almost like I'm cutting you off, but that is not the case when we're actually on here and talking.
It's not. But thanks for saying that. But no, when it comes to this line, I'll be honest. Seeing the rate at how people are, see, that's the thing. Oh shit, I'm dropping my goddamn earpiece. Hold on. Dang it, that was my first cuss. Sorry about that. Anyways,
don't you be apologizing to 2 grown men about you cussing.
Yeah, so the line itself has been selling great, and in the groups, of course, not everybody's as critical as us. Is it because we're trying to be mean to the line? No, it's because we're so passionate, we love it so much, we want it to have as much respect and be treated as great as possible. So when I see Tyler has a different way he looks at something, so do I. Like, when I'm looking at these figures, the thing is, since I customize, all I do is see faces. I see details so much, so when I'm seeing the faces, it's driving me bonkers. But the fans in all these groups, the ones that are going to Walmart and buying them like crazy, they're not complaining. They're loving it. Now,
but because it's also the same damn characters that are shown in every piece of merchandise. It's not like they came out of the gate with a Stridor and a Fisto 2-pack along with a Strong Arm and Clawful 2-pack or something like that. No, it's with the generic of the generic. And that's why I'm like,
Well, that's why the variant thing would scare me. I pray that's what I hate. They show that as being some of the first. What do you guys want? And that scares me because I don't want it. Because if the line could continue of giving us new characters along with ones we've had before, and that fever keeps going. I mean, this line is selling fantastic, but if they start implementing so many variants and then people's just interest like, oh God, I can't stomach a 20th He-Man. I mean, because that's what I hated about the 2000X line. I love that line because of all the new sculpts and details, and they didn't use the same buck body over and over for everybody. I appreciate and respect it, especially the Stactions. But the amount of He-Man and Skeletors was over the top. I mean, that's what sickened Tyler and me, and Nathan. I'm sure you've seen how.
Yeah,
Tyler's
I was collecting that line, and then I just sort of trailed off from it because every time we would go to the store, it would be exciting when you would find a new character, but what's clogging the shelf? Variants of He-Man and Skeletor, and I'm like, yeah, and then you just give up,
and then they think the line was. Yeah, because then they said, oh, the line's not selling. It's like, well, actually, no. Every character, when you look for something like Attila and Evelyn or Roboto, whoever it may be, gone. But it's like, He-Man and Skeletor sitting there. It's not that people don't want it. It's you packed 4 He-Mans and then one other hero, another hero. 4 Skeletors, one villain. So people obviously snatched up the ones they wanted, and then you're stuck with clogging up with the hero and villains that they said had to be in every wave and that everybody wanted. Well, they were very wrong. So I don't want them repeating the same mistake, especially when we seen that, like you said, the variant thing. On the other side, first there was the anti stuff, but on the other side, it's Tricops and Wonder Bread He-Man. It's like, stop it! Stop with the Wonder Bread He-Man and stop with the nonsense. First, like I said, that's a whole thing that nobody ever figured out where did it really come from, but now you're encouraging it, and now we're going to get this stupid one, and that means it's going to happen. I don't care if it didn't win the poll.
Can't be really marketed towards children. There's no cartoon or other media to encourage them, unless you go up and buy the DVD release of He-Man up front in Walmart for $40. It's not there's nothing to encourage children to check it out. There's no cartoon or video game or movie or anything. Not that movies don't sell toys anymore.
Yeah, we're buying
because they don't buy superhero toys off the shelf based on movies. But I that's why I feel like doing all these variants is strictly to appease to your. Well, hell, I'm surprised casual fans would even know who any of those shitty variants were anyway. I feel like...
Oh, that was the thing with Keldor? No, agreed. I remember people were saying, what's this guy? Almost nobody knew that in the He-Man groups, the toy groups. They're so focused on vintage that when they were seeing this stuff, they said, I don't even know who that is. And they were like, why is the Man-at-Arms that color? And they're like, oh, in the Antiverse. But otherwise, they were looking at Keldor like,
there's this shitty comic book that you need to go and read to see where that all came from.
Yeah, they don't read it. They don't know this. That's what I mean. It's... I want the line to be
And how come Mattel had nothing new to showcase this year for San Diego?
When is that?
Other than that bullshit poll, they had nothing to encourage that there's more He-Man stuff coming down the line.
I saw a lot of stuff with the Comic-Con because they did the Comic-Con at home, and from what I gathered, the viewing audience just for all the panels and everything together was just there was no interest.
Well, there was nothing. Nobody had anything interesting to share. There was no trailers, no great releases. I saw a few things from NECA, of course. I'm like, I ain't gonna be able to afford any of that. I ain't gonna be able to get it.
I feel like a moron. When did this happen? I didn't even know that happened.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
It was so it came and went, and it's even been stated that the views for these panels were so minute, and they backed up by saying there was jack shit revealed.
Because they couldn't be there in person to smell like butt cheese and get in everybody's way and crowd the halls and stab people over
and ask a bunch of obnoxious, dumbass questions about the obvious and shit like that. Or, well, we really can't answer that right now. Well, what about this? Well, we really can't answer that right now. I don't have the logistics to answer that question right now. But we do have this variant water bottle coming down the line that's featured in some panel, just nothing to get people excited about. And from Mattel
anything.
again.
No, I mean, it was just like anything. Like everybody.
Oh, and maybe Mattel, because I know PowerCon's doing an online.
Oh yeah, we probably should talk about that, huh? That should have been in the news thing.
But I dare say I would not be shocked at all. Mattel has nothing but more trinket variant bullshit to showcase at PowerCon, and no one gives a shit about that other than all right, it's NYP colors of Evil in vintage form. Isn't it great, people? You know, just more shitty variants.
Well, this, if anything, this many comic shows, we don't love everything from the past. So great art, but a horrible story, and also it's just part one of like when we talk about the other three eventually, it's showing no savagery in this vicious violence that feels like Conan.
There's nothing graphic or overly aggressive in any of these stories, like not at all. It's just the way Alcala does his artwork, and that's it. So people, whoever you are, wherever you're at, whenever you listen to this, if you do, it's love the artwork all you want, but
sure,
but you can't sit there and say that. It just kind of comes off as very narrow-minded. Like, it ain't the same thing with Star Wars, where I don't look anything past the first three films because everything comes after the first three films is dog shit.
Yeah,
and you can't argue that. So yeah, like if it was better past the first three films, then yeah, I think it's great to keep an open mind and appreciate all various aspects. But He-Man got progressively better into the 80s. You can say what you want as the line went deeper into the 80s, and obviously the rest of you assholes who stopped buying those toys and took it away from me just as I was getting a little bit older to keep buying more of those toys. I don't see how you can limit yourself.
Tyler, like, sometimes when he's hanging out, when he visits his mom, he's probably just sitting there and is just quiet for a second, and he's like, damn it, why couldn't you just had me 3 years earlier?
No, I've often wondered because I was at the perfect age for Turtles, and I'm so thankful that I was, because I got to experience Turtles, the way I wanted to experience He-Man, like getting to see the commercials for new toys, being at school and seeing my classmates come in with Jitsu and Fisto, like, who is that? I had a few moments as a kid, but yeah, I've often wished I could have been around a little bit earlier to where I could have. All my Christmases would have been focused on He-Man, Thundercats, and G.I. Joe, like over and over and over and over. And,
I remember taking my Dragon Walker in for show and tell. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world, just to watch that thing go super slow. For me, it was fascinating. I actually don't remember what the kids in the class thought, but God, was I excited. I was like, I get to bring some He-Man toys to school. So those were fun times.
I would never take my toys to school. I didn't trust any of those assholes.
No, I was kind of the same way, because I had someone steal my 2 talking Marvel superheroes from Toy Biz out of my backpack, and they had no idea they were in there. Just this one guy decided to snoop around in my backpack in 3rd grade and took them out of there. And we called him by the end of the day. Seth Dixon. There wasn't someone, he ended up moving to Texas, I think, after 5th grade.
Well, I mean, it's in his last name.
My teacher kept everything in back. She was able to protect it all, thank God. But like when we were talking about this, just like I said, when we talk about this comic, we're doing it to enlighten. That's, like I said, that was the main focus of why we do the show all the time. It's for, again, you can love Battle in the Clouds and all those, and it is fantastic art, but there were many fans that still, maybe even who are just watching or listening right now, didn't know that wasn't that savage, or things that they thought happened. It didn't happen. Like the amount of people that thought that Merman beat He-Man, they see that never happened. There was never a fight. That's the reason we do this, is just to make you think, wow, I didn't know that. So it's not like we're crapping on it and say, you know what, hate Battle in the Clouds. Or not. You can still love it. Yeah. And like I said, the art is fantastic. But that's why we discuss the stories, is to let you know something maybe you didn't know.
Yeah, the artwork's great. Stories just all over the place. And I don't know if it's in the Dark Horse book. Joe, I imagine it's there since you actually have the copy of it. Can we talk really quick about the pop-up game that it has advertised in here from Western Publishing Company? I don't know. I got these images off the org, and it was on here. It looks really badass from that tiny picture.
And that's the thing. This, just to let you know, this is I told you everything from, my collections from my childhood. I kept great condition for my comics, and I never wanted to send anything in. Like, they're advertising the hauler, and they're showing the figures and the pop-up game that you're talking about.
Yeah, that looks really cool. I like that a lot.
This is what I got, is the big giant coloring book with just a beautiful piece of art that's on the cover of that. But inside there's all these giant posters. I never pulled them out. I still have that downstairs. I'd probably show sometime, but yeah.
I was thinking that you were going to be like, and it's right beside of me right here. And you just
nope, I don't have that by me. What cracks me up though is how crazy is this, Tyler? We always seen this image in that weird logo of Masters of the Universe. Like, why does it look that? And then damn Andy Yowzy has that with saying the Lords of Power. Unreal. So it really did have a comic cover. So, but yeah, I was gonna say for now it's time for anybody in the chat room. If you guys had some questions you want to hit us from, the cartoon, comics, anything else, do it right now. And in the meantime, real quick, Hip Hop Radio. Sean Goss, and there was somebody else that joined us here. Just and Zamir Mass.
Oh wait! Thank you all for joining us. Did we already mention Toki Death Nuts? They're in the chat.
Oh yeah, Toki Deathhammer joined us. I was like, yeah, and you got to say hello to Toki Death Nuts. But yeah,
my brain's just kind of gone numb. I'm just kind of like do what you need to do there, Joe. I'm just here to be angry.
Are you getting depressed about the state of action figures? Well, just the state of everything.
Just I mean, He-Man in general. Like thankfully today, I got like motivated to actually start writing the Randor story that I had talked about like a while back. Where I was like, you know what, actually would be interesting to write a solo King Randor story. I actually started writing that today. I got actually inspired today. And just started writing that, and it was like flowing like water. Like, oh my god, this is going great! I'm writing great dialogue. This is going to be a badass story, But in terms of like things to look forward to, I nothing. I mean, it's sad and depressing, but it's sad that we do this podcast because we're pushing the hardcore content. Like, if you're a casual fan listening to this, its purpose is to turn you into a hardcore fan or get you interested in just. Stop being such a casual. If that's all you want to be, okay, fine, whatever. But this podcast is not meant for casual, listening. It's meant to excite you and inspire you to learn that there's so much more past Beastman and Skeletor and He-Man and Man-at-Arms and Battle Cat. Damn it! There's more to it than just shitty clothing you got at Hot Topic with the same shitty versions of Filmation artwork slapped on there. That those puppies are sick, bro. Get them to the vet and all that shit. Do you even lift, bro? And all those
what size shirt you wear, Tyler? 2X? You just an XL right now? What size you wear?
Just XL.
Okay. All right. I'll wait when 80s Tees has a sale again. I'll get you some sweet shirts.
Yeah.
All right, I'll get to now some of these questions in the chat room. Just one nutcase. But anyways, Adam Gabbert said, Joe, Tyler, and Nathan, have you seen anyone in public or in person that has tattoos of Masters of the Universe or Princess of Power? Believe it or not, in person, no, I've never seen somebody in person. Plenty of people online, but not in person.
I don't think so either. Usually, the only things that I've seen or have a tendency to see are like other properties. Like Ninja Turtles is usually like, I think I've seen a couple of those out in public before. But you gotta,
I see a lot of G.I. Joe, the Cobra symbol.
Yeah,
I see so many.
But
people
you gotta think too that in the area that Tyler and I are in, most of these tattoos are basically what you would see on a UFC fighter. Like, they'll get things tattooed on their stomachs.
Barbed wire stuff.
Yeah, and you get those people that like walked out of a DeLorean and they were like, yeah, man, I went to 1995. Look at my barbed wire tattoos. A lot of rebel flags, shit like that. So
I will say on one of the DVDs for He-Man, there's a little mini documentary called Fans of He-Man. And there's a segment at one of the old San Diego Comic Cons where Emiliano's doing an autograph sign. I started to break this up to him last week when he was on the episode. And a fan that is brought over to say, hey, Emiliano, he's got your artwork on your arm. And it's not. It's the generic cliche MYP version of He-Man the guy had tattooed on his arm. Emiliano has this blank look on his face and doesn't even acknowledge the guy or anything.
Wow.
He stopped autograph to like look at this guy's arm, and he has this blank face.
Wow.
And Andy Mangles, who brought him, was like, look, it's your artwork, Emiliano. The guy's like, yeah. And he just looks at the guy. And I'm thinking, when I watch this, I'm like, you morons! It's not his artwork. It's generic MYP. Like, God, you people. It just drove me. And that's why I was ready to slap my TV off the stand when I saw that. It was just infuriating.
Well, speaking of infuriating, Grimbot has a question. And this is because it came, it was a question from one of the Filmation groups with somebody that went on one of the most insane rants I've ever seen. But he said, You guys think it's more likely that Tila did not have an actual father, but actually hatched from an egg? He's doing this to be sarcastic because there was something in this one. It was in the Filmation He-Man group. This guy went on the longest rant I've ever seen in my life about trying to be really deep, and I think when everybody said so. That one,
you shouldn't even give that jerk off a moment of your time or anybody else. Someone who's trying to come up and reinvent the wheel by coming up with some bullshit theory, and he's like the next big thing to write the bullshit, DC
it went
comic,
into about virgin birth and everything. It went insane. So we're gonna avoid that.
You don't.
I'm
sorry, but you don't need shit like that in a cartoon. Like, you don't need that.
I don't like seeing that stuff in any of my comic where people tried to come up with these really convoluted, overly artistic or art house bullshit.
Especially in an established property, don't go in there with weird shit like that. Just take the mythology, tweak things, but don't, like, if you want to do something like that, create your own thing. It's almost like if you were to take
and keep it to your damn self.
It didn't engage many people. Some people just looked, and some people.
I want you to ignore them. I don't want you to give them the satisfaction of even acknowledging that you even read their bullshit post. Don't give them a like, a dislike, a sad face, an angry face. Do not give them anything. I do not want these people encouraged to continue to function as a fan of He-Man if they're going to continue to write this incoherent drivel like that. Like, they do not. They need to be ignored.
It pretty much was, but it was insanity. But thank you for that, Grimbot.
Thanks for giving me a nice, brain aneurysm. On that one there.
It's weird at the same time. Me and Tyler said aneurysm. Hip Hop Radio said, Nathan, have you been looking for the Target exclusive G.I. Joe classified Cobra Island?
Oh yeah, where it's got the Cobra Trooper and a couple others that are
Baroness, Beachhead.
I don't make it out to Target that often, and every time I go, because the first thing is check the NECA section. The Target around us even in the toy aisle, it's just they drop the ball on it all the time. I was actually lucky enough that I had a friend that lives like on the coast of the state, and he goes out all the time, and he found me the Casey Jones Foot Soldier 2-pack at Target, so I have that, and I told him to keep a lookout for that because it's the same thing. Like, I go to Target once a week. I'm not going to go there every day because Target, from where I'm at now, is probably like a good 20-minute drive, and here in about a month, if all goes well, it's going to be a little further away from me. So like, I want them, of course, it's great, but I also hate the fact that it's these store exclusive things, and it almost feels like they don't make enough of them. And I know that that's the point, but at the same time too, like, if you're just between the bots online and the people at work grabbing them and holding them, which whatever, they have a right to do that. If there's not a lot of them, then it's going to be the same thing like how I've fallen out of other toy lines. I'm like, what's the point in collecting this? I can never find it. I don't want to. Fuck it. I'm done, But yeah. I would like to. I hope next time I go in there, there's something, but I haven't even seen any of the classified Joes anywhere around here. The ones I got, I ordered on Amazon, so that's what's on the shelf right now.
If that's something I ever see in my area, would you be interested in something like getting that, Nathan, in case I ever see it in my area?
If you see that, and for Tyler too, especially Tyler, because Tyler.
Send me pictures. Okay.
Yeah, I'm collecting the classified stuff. I'm not buying any bullshit variants like Destro and Pimp Daddy bullshit. And I don't need another Roadblock unless it's more closer to the vintage styles. But I've already pre-ordered everything that they've already announced. I've pre-ordered everything because I'm not going to waste my time running around to our desolate 2 options of outlets or retails to get this stuff. I just assume bypass it all and just order everything online, man.
Makes sense. But yeah, definitely see if I can find something.
Okay.
We'll definitely make it worth your while, and I'll send you back the money plus a can of Spam.
Now I like that. I'll eat that.
That's what we do. We pay him back, and then for shipping, it's like here's 2 cans of Spam.
Hey, you can pay me in food all day. I'd love it. So,
which I imagine Joe's already noticed, but I've had a can of Spam like down there in the corner of his little block on camera the whole show.
Oh my God! I just noticed it. I did not see that.
Had it there the whole show.
Wow, talk about being observant. I did not notice, but thanks for that. I like it.
Yeah.
So, because somebody just nicknamed me Joe Spamato for like spam. I was like, oh, that was genius, but whatever.
Boy.
That just happened.
Oh
yesterday.
man, that could be our way into the big time. Have Joe like on the
Spamato.
on the cans of spam. He could be the
That's
spokesperson.
like-
Or
Oh, you have to put
Clamatos.
his-
Clamato. Clamato Amato.
Any of them, but yeah,
Joe's
put-
like face on a bottle of Clamato.
Campbell's,
Put Otto-
and whoever, I don't know who puts spam out. You guys find a way to contact us. Let's talk.
That's right. Put the auto after the M, and you got a motto right there. So Spamato. So all right. Fedmon actually said something that is cool. I guess it was showing that my insane ramblings, I guess, were actually thought about. He said, Joe, check Battle Ram's blog, which, by the way, that man does amazing stuff.
I love that
Yeah.
blog. It's always I
Yes.
always enjoy reading his articles.
Yeah, definitely look him up, Battle Ram's blog. But he said he has an article that Mattel was thinking about using one of Barbie's horses, Goldie, as Charger in the vintage line. So now I'm gonna have to read that. So thanks for letting me know, Fedmon. Had no clue, so I'll have to read it up. JSP said, "What did you guys think of my rough filming of the wrestling match I sent you?" Nathan seemed to like it.
That seems
cool.
very time consuming. I don't have the patience
Yeah,
for
I could
such
imagine.
things. Like I could,
Yeah,
I don't know
I
what I'm
could,
talking about.
I could have never have been like,
That was like a stop motion, right?
yeah,
Stop
yeah.
motion.
I could have
Yeah.
never done that because it's just barely move it, take a picture.
Yeah,
Barely
I
move
would
it,
have
take a
no
pic-
patience. So I give you all the credit. No
like
patience.
stuff like that looks awesome. Ray Harryhausen's stuff is like fantastic.
It's masterful stuff.
I just the time that you got to put into that dedication.
That's
I'm not that patient. You can, I would just yell at Emily. Hey Emily, you think I'm patient? She'd be like, no.
But that was cool, GSP, so thanks for sharing it. Curtis Ackerman said, oh my God, I really want to get that Randor story. It sounds awesome. I was picturing him fighting that gauntlet Tyler talked about. So,
Yeah, I didn't start writing in mini comics. I just started writing as a regular story, and I wrote like a nice little backstory before Adam was born, like a nice opening battle to kind of set the stage for the story. So I'm like, oh my God, like this is really cool. Like I like this a lot. So I'm gonna keep writing. Hopefully I'll have something to maybe share, and people will not turn away because it's not new toy talk and embarrass me. Make me feel like what I have to say doesn't mean anything to anyone in this community here because they just don't seem to give a shit when I have an original content to share.
Well, if you want, Tyler, you can just give me that stuff, not be on the show that week, and then I can read it out.
Yeah, and then you guys
it'll
can do a
gangbusters.
mailbag from the magazine from 1988, and then you guys read it, and then Joe eats a live tarantula on the air, and then we'll have like 1,000 views. And
that was actually not bad. Besides the hair sticking in my throat, it wasn't that bad having a tarantula. It was
Someone mailed Joe something like really stupid that he can eat that we can just do an episode on that'll do gangbusters.
And just so you guys know, if you guys think I'm joking about that, it's insulting to my presence on this podcast that I can't feel like I can be a legitimate part, that when I'm not here, you people turn out in droves, to just hear these guys talk about what's the better Oreo and shit like that. And I come on here to talk about the hardcore content.
But Joe doesn't.
And you people just like, I don't have time to watch this here. 100 views.
food?
But
I'm not talking about the live view. I'm talking about the overall week to week. We got close to 600 subscribers, which is a small drop in the bucket when it comes to YouTube subscribers. I am aware of that. But when we're not getting close to 560 views a week, I'm just telling you, you assholes should be ashamed of yourselves. Man.
Not the ones that are here, not the ones that tune in. I
mean,
want to stress that again. The ones that are here, we appreciate you. But
every one of you, and every one of you that watch regularly, the people who leave comments, who send Joe, Nathan, and me remarks privately on Messenger or whatever the case may be, you all have spoken. I appreciate everybody who takes the time to send us something that's positive or some criticism. I don't care. I don't get piss on my hush puppies when people say something that they want us to work on or what. Or they like. I appreciate that you took the time because you're listening to us. I appreciate every bit of that. So everyone that's in the chat room who will listen to us at some point this week, by this time next Sunday, I'm including you in my big thanks to all that. It's the rest of you hundreds and hundreds of people who subscribe but don't watch us yet. Where the hell are you? I'm going to end this here, but it's just, I'm calling all of you out. I swear.
They went out to get cigarettes and never came back.
Yeah, they did. They're just like,
any food,
deadbeat dads,
I'll eat it live.
But Joe,
you're a bunch of shitty casual fans. That's all you are. You don't care about any of this stuff. You just want to buy the generic of the generic with your shitty Filmation Walmart T-shirt and call yourself a fan. I'd have slapped the shit out of all of you.
He actually looks like he turned redder. He's almost as red as my Modulak mask. Look at his whole body. He actually looks like he got red and pissed.
I'm like Mosquito, like where I just, my skin turns red. It's just you start pushing the button on my back here.
I thought it was just because you suck. Anyway, Joe doesn't like Oreos though. To go back on that point.
I hate the middle stuff.
See, that's what makes it such a dynamic conversation. Is people will tune in next week to find out why Joe doesn't like Oreos. Give two shits about, the latest finding about, a vintage figure that we almost got but didn't. Like, that's lame. That's gay, man. Like, well, why can't we talk about modern stuff, man? And Joe putting stuff up his ass.
I remember I would take one off and scrape that white cream off and just eat the chocolate cookie. God, I hated that white cream. So, yeah. Let's see. Zamir Mass said, I ruined his childhood. I think that's when I was talking about, the vintage comics. Sorry about that, Zamir. Just had to let it happen. Brian
this ruined your childhood, man? Where the hell you been? With all the other mini comics and episode commentaries, like, this is what ruined your childhood, man? Damn, I'm sorry, dude.
Take a drink, Tyler.
Just wait. Just wait until the movie comes out eventually.
Brian Davis. Well, speaking of newer things, Brian Davis said, I had been wondering your thoughts on Kevin Smith's reveal about the new Masters cartoon. Like he's anything more than a spokesman. No, I'm hoping, Brian, that, like I said, the cartoon will be good. I hope it's, the property is treated with some respect.
Don't be delusional, Brian, here.
But I can't talk. I won't mention the other stuff. But no, Brian, I'm hoping it's great. I hope it can bring fans back. It'd be fantastic. I guess it's just a wait and see. But I guess we'll see. Zamir also said he wished he would see Forza T figures in classics forms. Forza T is fun.
I would too.
Yeah, I love Forza.
Let me ask you guys this real quick. You know how the bios are still being put out? Danielle writes the bios with her partner in crime. I can never remember the guy's name. I apologize for that. I can't understand how Mattel wants to keep putting these bios out, but cancel classics and won't allow them to. Like it's like when you read them, they're having to stick to the classic bios that Scott Knightley did. Like, you guys don't want to continue classics, but you want to continue the classics canon. Like, it makes no damn sense at all.
And I know nothing about inside stuff, but I just have a feeling. I don't
either. I'm just going by, that they're expected to follow that just by, the things that they write, which they've written a hell of a lot better stuff than what was dumped on us before. But I'm like, the logic of like, they're wanting to continue this classics canon, but they don't want to continue the classics toy line.
In some way, trust me, I think the classic figures will be coming back. That's just a gut feeling. Again, I don't want people, if it happens, to say, Joe, you knew all along, but...
Nathan, change the title of this episode to The Classics Line is Returning. Find out why here.
Yeah, that cheap clickbait. Oh, do I hate that when they do that for a video and you click and then it's nothing about that at all. Or they'll show a fake picture. You click on the video and that picture never exists.
I hate the videos as well where people like eat stuff. Like, oh, this came out, I'm going to try it. But then they spend the first 15 minutes. I'm like, just eat the damn food. The video should be 5 minutes long. Nope.
Yeah, because I got right to it, remember?
30 minutes.
I didn't waste... Yeah, because remember me? When it was time to eat that, I didn't waste. I said, okay, let's get right into this. I shoved that in. So, yeah, it was good tarantula. Nathan, I'm going to have to pass it to you because I'll be honest, the chat room since it exploded, I probably missed so much.
I got you. Well, I had you. All right. Jay has a question. Guys, do you have any plans on bringing more MOTU creative artists / creators into this podcast regularly?
Sure, we always try to do that once in a while.
All right, look. I've been asked about this before, like privately. I've wanted to bring lots of guests on this podcast, and I've tried, and it's a struggle at times because a lot of them are of an older generation, and it's hard and difficult at times to get them set up on the technical side.
Well, it used to be worse when we had Google Hangouts, at least with Skype and things.
Yes.
That kind of simplifies it quite a bit. But when we were doing it on Hangouts still with YouTube on here, yeah, that was That was hard to do. It's a lot of stuff because people have their own schedules. Like we would like to have James on here, like way more than we do. We'd like to have Danielle on here, but they got other stuff going on.
And we have to have Lady Britt back because me and Tyler, God, we were just gutted that did not record.
Well, that and my voice sounded like shit because I was suggested to switch over to a different. I forgot what it was that Doug had.
You know what's great though?
My voice sounded so incoherent.
But what's great about me and Tyler is every time we say this, we'll have a guest, and they're like, you know what? I can only be on for maybe 15 minutes or a half hour. Once they start talking with us, we just are always just so laid back and natural that they love being on, and they end up staying on maybe a half hour longer, and then they'll say, "Hey, I'd love to be back on the show." We just have.
And then nobody watches. That's another thing that discourages me about going after more guests. Like I went after, other people.
Who was the I can't remember the dude's name, but the one that was just like basically just scoffed at you for even asking. Who was that?
Oh, that was the director of Lionheart, Sheldon Lettich. When I
were you gonna have him on Beyond Retro?
Asked if he would come on Beyond Retro to talk about his work with Van Damme and his films, and he was very dismissive and a very. Like, he didn't cuss me, but it was like, this guy, he made me feel like this. I'm like if you're interested, just don't respond. And he was very, like, demeaning, like, oh, you're just recording a podcast on your phone. It was, I won't forget it. So when I see him pop up in interviews, like, that asshole, you directed your bullshit dog, movie. And, yeah, you directed Lionheart, and you worked with Van Damme on Bloodsport and stuff like that. But, it's stuff like that. And then, you go after these people, you set up the times, you're excited for it, and then people don't watch it. And I'm a victim of my own excitement where I'm thinking everyone was going to be just as excited as me and Joe are to have this person on or that person on or the talent behind this. And the casual fan base don't care about this stuff. Like, it meant so much to me to get Larry Houston on here, to have William Stout on here twice. Anthony DeLongis was on here. Robbie London. It's so many creative forces behind He-Man, and I'm thinking you guys are going to be just as excited as we are. And it's heartbreaking when it's very minute, when you see someone who's got my top 10 bullshit customs of He-Man, and people just oh man, I can't get enough of it. And we're putting our personal time to bring these people on so you guys can learn more secrets. Joe, don't be putting yourself over here. I'm on a roll here. We're trying to get these people on here to discuss the work on this, and you guys are just,
Let's go, bub. You're going to talk about shitty customs? Look at that Wolverine. He's awesome.
No, that does look really good, Joe.
It is really cool.
And that's the thing, too. Joe is actually really modest. He doesn't want to... The only time he wants to show his customs on camera is when he's going to cut Tyler off like that.
Or if somebody asks,
apologize for it. And then apologize for it and do it again anyway.
Yeah, I'd never do that again.
If we were a successful podcast and we were selling t-shirts and shit, like, that would be a good one of Joe. Like, I didn't mean to cut you off. And that's the shirt, But, yeah, that'd make a great... I mean, we, it's a shame, because you people just don't seem to want to tune in and watch us. Hell, even when we have people who are beloved in the community, you guys are just like, I don't give two shits about that. Where's the toy talk?
Papa Hud69 says, Joe, Nathan, and Tyler, what was one thing that Masters did that drew so much hate and ire from the people? No other franchise has received nowhere near as much flack as Masters. Why Masters?
Well, I mean, we're all passionate fans. We don't have much stuff when it comes to it, but I mean, like, especially when we were growing up. Now, things have changed, like I said, with certain things, but like growing up, right now, it's like you can't be critical of anything without somebody calling you some kind of name or a hater, but we've been passionate, just like everybody is, for any of their properties since we were kids. Like I said, when the movie came out, a lot of people said, well, that doesn't look like He-Man Skeletor. What's this crap? But some people loved it. Like Tyler, he had no issues with it. When the New Adventures line came out, people again said, what is that? That don't look like He-Man. MYP came out. A lot of people loved it. Some didn't. But I don't know. It's just, we like, again, like recently now, we just want, like I said earlier, to be treated as great as possible. So when we see a comic that is so confusing or doesn't make sense or it's bringing us so much crap, we don't have to say, you know what, thank you for making this comic, because there's no Master stuff out now, so thank you for giving this to us. I'd rather say no. Don't give us anything at all, because if you're just going to give us some watered-down, confusing crap, I'd rather say I don't want nothing. But some fans just eat up, say, gimme, I will like it. But if we're critical and say we don't like it, we're supposed to be haters? Like, no, we're not haters. We're passionate. We've done it since we were 5.
I think there's a fine line of saying, "Oh, this sucks," and saying it sucks, but then explaining why you think it sucks. I think that's what.
And we explain.
I know. I'm saying
Yeah,
in terms of other things, people, like, if you just say it sucks and don't say anything else, then yeah, I guess that aspect of it's justified to be like, oh, you're just hating. But if you can,
Sure.
if you can back that up and be like X, Y, and Z, like a perfect example, and I've come around to this over the years. Tyler immediately felt this way. It took me a little while to get there. The Christopher Nolan Batman movies, all it is three movies of Christian Bale being like, I'll quit being Batman if you'll be my girlfriend. That's what it is. And people, like, villains get in the way. That's basically what those movies are. Now, is the Heath Ledger performance great? Yes, it is. But everything else is just kind of, and then you throw that in there and it's just sort of, I haven't gone back and watched any of them in a while, but now I don't feel the need to go back to those anymore, because Two-Face looked great, but Rachel.
Boy, was he given such a shitty place
Rachel.
in the movie.
Rachel.
Rachel, it's just like, we get it.
Yeah.
Can we move on here and make you one of the great mob bosses of Gotham? No,
yeah, he's gone. And then we won't talk about the whole Bane fiasco. It's all just about everybody, like, fighting over women, and then he's like, oh, I'll quit being Batman. Just be with me, please. Someone love me. And that's it. And
God, yeah, they just make his Batman such a pussy.
And you get.
I watched one of them. I only watched one. I didn't watch all 3 of those. I think I just watched that first one.
Liam Neeson is great in it, but and Batman Begins, and the scores are good too. But that's
felt weird. Man. I can't describe it.
The fight scenes, you can't tell what the hell's going on, because Christopher Nolan didn't know how to shoot fight scenes. Everything's just like a jumbled, poorly edited mess.
Yeah.
With all their, like, preaching, trying to be all philosophical.
And I know that someone would be like, well, Michael Keaton's Batman sort of had a similar thing of, like, he was just wanting to fall in love and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but it did a better job of, like, he would have the temptation of, like, wanting to reveal his secret, or, like, even kind of crossing his mind, but he knows at the end of the day, like, that's, like, he needs to be Batman. Like,
and I will say this to anybody who, the people who listen to this, and you may think of what we're saying is blasphemous against the Nolan films. I told Nathan this before. I've told others before. There's one line that solidifies Burton Keaton's Batman above anybody else, is that when Ken Basinger's Vicky Vale says, are we going to try to love each other? He's, I'd like to, but he's out there right now, and I've got to go to work. Making Batman the priority, the way that he should always be. Yes. It's always fun to see Batman tinted by love, because God knows he's had so many beautiful women in his life. But when he's ensuring that the priority is putting on the cape and cowl and going out kicking ass, that's priority number 1. That is Batman.
Yeah.
And that's not what the Nolan films were about. It was more about, like we said, it's about... Exactly, Joe. Exactly. That is it. I don't need to say anything else. Joe, that was perfect. Thank you, Krispy Kreme.
I was trying to hold it in the whole time. I was like, oh my God, I might puke. What a timing.
I thought he was faking that. No, that was real, people. I mean, that just shows you what the Nolan films, they're vomit-inducing at times. Not all of it, but the majority of it, yes. This is what happens.
I mean, there were good things sprinkled in there, but as a whole, they just fell completely flat.
Very forgettable Batman films.
And it was easy to get drawn into the hype because...
Oh, yeah.
But
it was.
Time does a lot of things. Makes you either appreciate stuff more or look back at it and be like, yeah, that kind of sucked. But I will say, there's for as high regard as Tyler holds Batman '89, like, he puts Ben Affleck's Daredevil.
I knew it was coming.
That's what
I'm telling you. I was depressed. It was Valentine's Day, and nobody liked me. Nobody loved me like Christian Bale wanted. So I was delusional thinking that piece of shit was better than Batman 89. You know what? I also tried to convince myself that Batman and Robin was not as bad as it was, amongst other things too. And it's just, I would try to convince myself that Christian Bale's Batman voice was not bad at all. When me, Nathan, and my brother went and saw opening night, I have been delusional. I went through that phase where I was trying not to believe. Joe, are you going to throw up again?
No, I'm stretching. I guess you knew I was getting real quiet. I'm just stretching, making sure nothing happens. But
Okay.
yeah, Batman and Batman Returns are the only Batmans I
you
actually
can leave
liked.
it at that.
And those are the only two Batman films outside of the Mask of the Phantasm. Anything the animated series, that's where it stops and ends. And hopefully, Keaton comes back. Maybe it'd be worth a shit. I don't know. I can only hope so. And maybe with Robert Pattinson's Batman.
I'm hoping that will turn out okay. But it's like with anything now, I feel jaded enough. You guys might not get as much of me feeling that way on the show, but I'm jaded enough that when stuff comes out, I'm like, yeah, it might be okay. Like, I just temper the expectation, because I don't want to go into anything anymore, like, super excited about it and just walk out and pull a Keanu right there. No, I don't.
Yeah. Well, I got genuinely excited about Infinity War. I'm like, God, that movie sucked.
Yeah.
And I got genuinely excited for it. I turned myself around and I was like, you know what? I'm excited, even though Chris Pratt, the legendary asshole that he is in this piece of shit. Maybe it won't be so bad. And it was.
And we'll stress this. You like the Nolan Batman movies? Good on you. You like Infinity War and the Marvel movies? Good on you. Some of those are still all right, but Infinity War to me was basically just, hey, you remember these guys, right? They're from that movie you watched 3 movies ago.
And they're funny.
Yeah, that was basically all it was. Oh, yeah, Bale's Batman voice was, where are the other drugs going? Why?
Oh, my God. If that scene right there where he's interrogating, what's his name? Do I look like a cop? Like, oh, my God.
Oh, Batman.
Or when he gives his exposition to Gordon, like, if the water gets into the water, the whole city be covered in this poison here. Like, oh God, like it's just their dialogue.
What about when Joker's hanging upside down and like Heath Ledger's killing it in there, and then like he's like, "This city just goes to show you." I'm just like,
you may have had yourself forever. Like, Heath Ledger. I mean, obviously, he can do no wrong in that film, but it's just, even the secondary acting, like all the extras acting in the Nolan films are like bad. Like their dialogue, they can't deliver simple lines. It's like Wayne's World 2. I know it's a small part, but we can do better than this. And it's like, all these people are just, all these extras have speaking parts in all 3 Batman films that Nolan did. They're bad. They're all bad. It's like he's just like second unit came in and directed this people. It makes no sense. Anyway,
Christopher Nolan, and I know Tyler will disagree with this. I do like Christopher Nolan's other movies because I think that suits it.
Oh, I love Insomnia. I think Insomnia is a masterpiece. I love that.
That suits his talents better. Like, good on him for taking a shot at Batman, but they don't do that for me anymore. I don't know. Most of the rest of the chat talk was like, damn, Tyler's on a roll tonight and all this stuff. So I don't think, and I could have missed something, but
Please give us one more good He-Man question. And I will say this as a teaser for next week. Yeah, I want to say this, that and I don't know if but we are going to do a toy discussion next week, and to validate that there was once a hardcore He-Man fan base at one point. Our next week's topic will validate just how hardcore this fan base was when we do the Toy Fair Titanic Tussle, which was a tournament back in the late 90s conducted on the internet by Toy Fair magazine, and let fans vote on what was the most dominant toy line. And they went through a bracket set up like wrestling matches, and the fans voted on what toy line would beat this toy line and move on to the next round. And we won't go any more further than that. But it was something I like. I think the 3 of us are going to have a field day, and I think Joe, say something here. You're making me feel like I'm boring.
No, he's just trying not to puke or shit himself.
Oh, I feel like Kenny's down in South Park. Oh God, he throws up, bleeds out the nose, and takes a shit in the trash can. He goes back and forth between all 3.
But in regards to that, if Tyler is correct, I get the issue mailed to me, and I should have the bracket that we can put on the screen as it was before they did all the voting. It's like 64. I think there's a few repeats because it's basically like this toy line, this toy line, this toy line. They have them going, and it's just like March Madness tournament style brackets.
But it's all the definitive 80s and 90s action figure lines competing. And it was so cool because they said, I remember when this was done. I'll go into more details about it, but it just really shows that, you know what, the He-Man fan base at one point, I mean, like, pushed this toy line to the outer limits in terms of competition against some of the other juggernauts.
And it's weird because you can't find that much about it on the internet. Trust me, I tried to find this image. I'm like, fuck it. I guess I'll just go on eBay and buy the magazine. So hopefully, Tyler.
Joe, do you remember this?
No, I don't. That's why when you mentioned it, I used to get a lot of the Toy Fair magazines. This one doesn't ring a bell. The one thing I do remember was when they said they rated the most powerful weapons in all of comic cartoon history. And number 2 was He-Man's Power Sword. Number 1 was Green Lantern's Ring. And I thought it was fascinating that He-Man's Power Sword made it that high through all of comic and cartoon history that he had number 2. Thought that was kind of cool. That's one thing I remember. But yeah, the thing you said, I don't remember, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, this was something that was conducted all over the internet. Like He-Man.org had like the poll on their website.
Oh wow!
Various other places
Star Wars,
that Toy Fair was connected with.
Star Wars. All those guys were
clue.
pushing. They're like, hey, go to toyfair.com and click on this and vote us into the next.
And I voted. I got to vote in this one time because I didn't have internet, so it was only when I got to go over to Matt Hilton's house. And I remember who He-Man was competing against when I voted. So we'll go into the next week, but. For you guys who strictly just can't get enough jerking off over toys, we will have Toy Talk, but not the new Toy Talk. This will be classic Toy Talk. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun for the three of us to discuss this bracket. Yeah. I think people who never heard of this will get a lot of amusement probably out of seeing who was fighting against who. Yeah. And just, God, can we talk about next week?
Maybe I can kind of finagle it in a way to where I can actually have it up on screen and we can go through each thing and kind of like take a vote between the three of us of who we think should go over the other, and then I can move the property forward on the bracket. We'll figure that out once I get the magazine. We'll get all the logistics figured out. 2 more questions. Grim 2 asked, do you think He-Man likes Oreos? Because he's being a smartass tonight. And Febmon asks...
He likes golden Oreos.
Yeah, those are okay.
Febmon. Yeah, Febmon with the final question said, what is your favorite Masters of the Universe Golden book? I will say the Sunbird Legacy. It's one of the biggest and most epic ones they had back then. Loved it.
Probably had to be Sword of Skeletor. God, I love that story. It was the first one I ever got, but getting older, you just realize just how damn good that story is. Rock Wars would probably be because Jitsu and Webstor and Buzz Off are in that one. I love that one to death. But those first 3 Golden books, it's like a trilogy to me.
Just avoid the Trap. Trap has a great
Trap.
cover.
It's got one of the best covers, but the shittiest story you could ever imagine.
Best, yeah, exactly. I love that cover, but story horrendous. Yeah. So,
Toki Deathhammer says, "Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Batman talk." Hey, if you guys want to hear me and Tyler talk about some more Batman, go to that Beyond Retro channel. Watch those capes and commentaries. I like talking Batman. Yeah. Batman's got a lot of.
I do too, and we did a commentary for the '89 film where we pretty much just shit all over the Nolan films with Penny Dreadful. Like that was great, and Joe's about ready to throw up again.
Well, we'll go ahead and wrap this up so Joe can go.
Yeah.
I think I really might vomit when I'm done here. I'm not saying it to be a smartass, but
we can cover for you, dude. Don't be sick on our part, dude.
Puke on the show. That's what you get for eating 6 donuts, though.
Yeah, and they were filled too. But I did want to thank all you guys for being here this week in the chat room. For those of you who are new to the channel, make sure you like, subscribe, share, ring the bell so you can always be notified when we go live. And until next time, have a powerful day.
That was like the weakest one he's ever done.
Movie quote when Joe is he's just completely deflated. Like
do the movie quote anyway. Before Tyler does that, Tyler's shown this off before. Clamp Champ shirt. Links down below. Go to Joe's store. Buy one of his shirts.
Oh God, yeah.
I'll completely read your own, by the way.
Show support for one of the most underrated and greatest He-Man characters of all time here, people. Get this original Clamp Champ artwork by Bruce Timm from our good buddy Joe Amato at TeePublic there.
That's a great.
All right, well, what's the movie quote?
If you're gonna learn how to fight, Then learn with a real weapon, not with a toothpick.
See, I know I should know this. While we have the awkward silence, that did you guys see Wilford Brimley died?
Yeah. John Saxon passed away the other day too.
It's a bummer, man. We're losing all these iconic, big name, in all kinds of movies that we loved from the 80s, early 90s, especially that time period, but even before then, because they've been in other shit too. But Wilford Brimley, especially, man, The Thing, Cocoon,
Our House,
yeah, there you go.
Hard Target, The Thing,
Diabetes,
the diabetes commercials,
Quaker Oats commercials.
Yeah,
was he in
the
Cocoon?
Quaker Oats.
Wasn't he in Cocoon too?
It was in Cocoon. Yeah,
you know, it was weird.
You said it. Where were you, Joe?
My mind is gone. Those donuts in this heat have just fried my brain. All I thought
you could turn your camera off and take the mask off and let yourself breathe there.
I probably should have.
All right. Well, Tyler, what's the quote from?
It's Arnold Schwarzenegger and Conan the Destroyer.
Yeah. People were saying that Zen Brown got it, and so did JSP.
Yeah, they just popped in before you said that.
Well, bravo to you guys for getting that. So we'll see you next week for the Titanic toy tussle.